I'm here with Alexander Mercouris, editor-in-chief of the Duran. Alexander, we have some more news out of the UK with Theresa May. Take us into it. From what I understand, she's going to give a fourth go at getting her withdrawal agreement passed. And she's also given some clarification as to when she's going to be resigning as prime minister. Let me know if I said that correctly. Take us through the news that broke out of the UK today.
Yeah, I mean, this has been an extraordinary story, and I mean, it doesn't really give, nobody comes out of it especially well. But let's understand what's happening. We have Nigel Farage leading the Brexit party just directly after local council elections, in which the Conservatives did even worse than their worst nightmares, because they failed to deliver Brexit and they weren't able to motivate their voters to come out and vote for them. Now Nigel Farage is storming the country with his Brexit party in the European Parliament elections. The widespread expectation now is that the Conservatives, who polled 43% of the vote in the June 2017 general election, are going to fall to around 10% of the vote, with some belief that they might go down even below that. So this has concentrated minds in Westminster, and Conservative MPs got together, and there's been a lot of talk about the need for a change of course and a change of leader. And finally, the 1922 committee, which is the sort of trade union, if you like, of Conservative MPs, they insisted on a meeting with Theresa May in which they asked her to set a date for her departure. And apparently there were a lot of tears from Theresa May and a lot of promises. And as so often has happened with this story, what we got was a very fudgy and in some ways unsatisfactory compromise, which, however, nonetheless, I hope will lead to a final departure. What was agreed is this: she will put forward her wretched deal, which has been rejected 3 times. She's going to propose it for a 4th time on the 3rd of June. Everybody now expects it to be rejected by a bigger majority than when it was put on the 3rd occasion, because Conservative MPs now understand that if they vote for it, they will be annihilated by Nigel Farage. Any kind of Brexit that is based on this deal is unacceptable to leavers, to voters who voted leave across England. So it is overwhelmingly expected to be defeated. At that point, whether she wins or loses that vote, and everybody expects her to lose, at that point, Theresa May is going to have another meeting with the 1922 committee, at which point she will announce the timetable of her departure. Now, that doesn't mean she will resign on the 3rd of June. It means that she will tell us when she's going to leave. Now, a number of questions here. Since she's going to leave, she's going to announce the timetable of her departure on the 3rd of June. Why doesn't she announce it now? What is the magic about putting this off to the 3rd of June? No real explanation there, but presumably she's still got some kind of residual hope that this will pass the first vote on the 3rd of June. Her deal will pass the first vote on the 3rd of June, and she'll be able to cling on for a few weeks more whilst the thing goes through Parliament. I don't think anybody expects that to happen. But anyway, she will announce the timetable for her departure on the 3rd of June. That will mean that there will be an immediate Conservative leadership election, which will take place over the course of the summer. And by the autumn, the Conservative Party will have a new leader who will then be proposed to the Queen as Prime Minister. and who will then formally take over from Theresa May. So this is an agonising end. It's not a clean and straightforward end. But to those of us who care about these things, at least it is an end, and at least it is a sign that this disastrous premiership of Theresa May is finally coming to an end.
Is Theresa May's calculus that this on June, we're going to have the elections on the 23rd, the EU Parliament elections.
Yes.
Farage sweeps the board, the Brexit party.
Yes.
And then she has this June 3rd, by June 3rd, she gets her agreement passed. At least is what's going through her head.
Yes.
Which would nullify the Brexit party's win. Is that what she's
Correct.
Thinking?
That's exactly what she's thinking. I think she's thinking that if she can get it passed on the 3rd of June, she'll be able to cling on because she'll be able to get the whole thing passed. And then she'll be able to say, I was the Prime Minister who delivered Brexit, even though it's my terrible Brexit, which nobody likes. And Nigel Farage will no longer be a Euro MP. And the entire election that has just happened will have been nullified. I think she is whistling in the wind if she thinks that. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Why would she be in talks with Corbyn? Because I also read that she was in talks with Corbyn to try and get Labour to abstain from voting.
Yes, because this is the only possible chance she has of getting her dreadful agreement through the House of Commons. The idea is, and this is a very this shows how complicated and at the same time obsessive her mind has become. What I think she's basically telling Corbyn is this: abstain on my deal, let it pass what's called the first reading, which is on the 1st of June, 3rd of June. Bills that pass the House of Commons have to go through 3 readings. There have to be 3 votes on it. Propose amendments to the bill after the first reading, which will add a customs union and a confirmatory referendum. And then it will go to the House of Lords and it will be passed by the Queen, signed off by the Queen, and we will have a customs union and we will have a confirmatory referendum, which are the things you say you want. I think Corbyn would be a complete idiot if he agreed to that. I think if he agreed to that, he would infuriate everybody within his own party, both those who want him to oppose Brexit entirely and those who want him to support Brexit, who are a large swathe of MPs in from northern constituencies. So I predict that Jeremy Corbyn will not agree to this plan of May's, and I predict that the bill will fail on the 3rd of June, as it has done on the previous 3 occasions when it has been put to the House of Commons.
All right, so when the bill fails, is Theresa May officially gone?
Yes. I mean, she will remain as caretaker Prime Minister for perhaps a further month until the Conservatives elect a new leader, who, by the way, I predict will be Boris Johnson. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why Boris Johnson?
Well, because despite the fact that a lot of Conservatives don't like him, he has now manoeuvred himself into the position where he is accepted by the Conservative Party in the country as the only former member of the government who generally believes in Brexit. Whether he actually believes in Brexit or not, I actually somewhat doubt, but he's spoken so strongly about rejecting Theresa May's deal and about Theresa May's deal being unacceptable, that I think that as leader of the Conservative Party, he could not possibly go ahead with it, and I think he would try and move for a no-deal Brexit. All
right, so just to put things in perspective and wrap it up, to kind of summarize, because now I think I'm getting a little lost. So,
well, I know. As so many people are. I mean, this is one. Can I just say something, Alex? I mean, The British people in this situation voted very clearly in June 2016 to leave the European Union. What they did not vote for are these overcomplicated and elaborate games that are being played in Westminster, right, which I have to spend so much time trying to explain. This is not what was supposed to happen. It has exasperated the British people beyond endurance. And one of the reasons why Nigel Farage is at this moment in time sweeping all before him is not just because he supports Brexit, which he does, it's been his life's work, but because he is the only political leader in Britain who speaks clearly on this issue. None of the others do. Not Theresa May, not Boris Johnson, not Jeremy Corbyn, not the leaders of the Liberal Party or Change UK or the Greens or anyone else. And frankly, it is Farage's clarity that is refreshing. And I also want to say something else. If Nigel Farage were not storming the country in the way that he is now, if it wasn't a certainty as we speak that the Brexit Party is going to win a lopsided victory in the European elections and obliterate the Conservatives, Theresa May would not be talking about going. Nigel Farage, by winning the referendum in 2016, and despite what people say about people like Cummings, who was the head of the campaign, the Brexit campaign, it was Nigel Farage who engineered that victory in 2016. Nigel Farage, who got that referendum held in the first place because he was threatening Conservative MPs up and down the country and forced David Cameron to agree to the referendum. Nigel Farage, by winning the referendum, by getting the referendum fought, brought down David Cameron, and he's now bringing down Theresa May. He has destroyed two British Conservative prime ministers, one after the other, and all credit to him for doing it.
Yeah, they played a large part in destroying themselves, but without a doubt, because they just don't tell the truth.
They did indeed. Well, you've just said it. I mean, that's the whole truth of it. He does. They don't. They play political games. They play all these overcomplicated, disastrous, confusing games with the British people in the House of Commons, and people are fed up with it.
People in the UK are sick of it.
Fed up with it. I'm fed up with it. Sick of it. Now, I mean, you know, I'm able to explain it because, you know, this is the sort of thing I do. But don't imagine that I enjoy doing it, and people in Britain don't enjoy it at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, the whole thing is just exhausting, and I'm trying to think now. So my question is, Brexit wins, Brexit party wins. Brexit doesn't happen. The EU is still the UK is still in the EU. Nigel Farage is sending a bunch of people to Brussels, but Theresa May is gone, and now Boris Johnson is going to come in and renegotiate Brexit from the beginning again, while you have Nigel Farage and the Brexit party in Brussels screaming about how Brexit wasn't honored.
No, it's not going to happen. I mean, if Boris Johnson has any such ideas, I mean, he's an even bigger fool than I think he is. Actually, I don't think Boris Johnson is a fool. I think he's a charlatan and a clown and all kinds of things, but I don't think he's any sort of fool. I think he will understand very clearly when he becomes leader of the Conservative Party, as I predict he will, and when he becomes Prime Minister, which I also predict he will, that he has to see through Brexit by the 31st of October. And if that means a no-deal Brexit, so be it.
Yeah, but he's going to be negotiating until then, correct?
Well, he's going to be negotiating until then. But I think he must understand that if he comes back with any kind of deal that includes the Irish backstop, and which looks at all like the deal that Theresa May has proposed and failed to get through the House of Commons, then he, that is to say Boris Johnson, and the Conservative Party are toast. Because this time round, Farage is not going to make the mistake he made in 2016, which is resign, the leadership of his party. He will still be there. The Brexit party will have momentum. It will continue to organise. And every single Conservative MP, their future will be in jeopardy. So I think, in a sense, having destroyed David Cameron, having obliterated Theresa May, I think Nigel Farage will be there holding the gun to Boris Johnson's head.
All right. Well, another incredible development in the Brexit story.
Well, indeed. Now, the only thing I have to say, though, is, of course, it wouldn't still be over because, of course, Boris Johnson might become Prime Minister, but he won't have a majority in the House of Commons. And there are about 25 to 40 Conservative MPs who are completely opposed to Brexit. Now, it's not impossible, if Boris Johnson moves towards a no-deal Brexit, that we could see more parliamentary manoeuvres trying to remove him from the position of Prime Minister and perhaps trying to revoke Article 50 on the grounds that, a no-deal Brexit is unacceptable. So I'm afraid it wouldn't be over, but at least at that point, we would have a Prime Minister who, whether sincerely or not, would be committed to seeing the thing through.
Right. Something Theresa May did not do.
Never was. And never was, exactly.
Never was going to do it. All right. Alexander Mercouris, Editor-in-Chief of the Duran, thank you very much. Guys, if you like this video, click on the subscribe button down below and click on the notifications bell to get notifications every time we push out a new video. And go to the Duran shop. As you can see, Alexander Mercouris has some Duran merchandise. What do you got there, Alexander?
Well, I've got this amazing shirt. And can I just say again what I'm going to say in every video, as somebody who's had suits made for him in Savile Row and shirts made for him in Jermyn Street, this is absolutely good quality. This is high quality, beautifully embroidered stuff. It's absolutely worth it. It feels incredibly comfortable. You feel wonderful in this. And I've also got this equally magnificent and very big mug.
Cool.
If you like tea, as I do, it's superb for drinking tea. If you prefer coffee, well, it's perfect for coffee also. And here it is.
You could even put your beer in there as well.
You could even actually. It's pretty big. It's pretty big.
All right, awesome stuff, guys. The Duran shop. Pick up a T-shirt. It really helps out a lot. And of course, you can donate to us on PayPal and Patreon. The links are in the description box down below. And don't forget, you can get a copy of this video in audio format. Follow us on iTunes and on SoundCloud as well. And don't forget, you could follow us on Instagram, @theduran_com. And download the Blank Chat app to get updates as to what's going on in the Duran. The link's in the description box as well. And go to theduran.com. See all the articles that Alexander is looking up to every day. Alexander Mercouris, Editor-in-Chief of the Duran. Thank you once again. Until next time, everybody. Take care.